I'll just delete that because I don't have a coaxial machine gun. And then you just set a firing state for your coaxial machine gun, and then that would need to be changed in there as well. Okay, so now I want a firing behavior for my turret. It's going to require the turret fire is equal to fire, and that variety name is equal to off. The alternative to having it set to not equal to whole flamethrower is you can set it to off as well. That way, if you have more than one visibility name option, you won't have to set an individual condition for each option. It will only happen when it's not set. So yeah, turret firing, turret fire, variety name equal off. Can I? Nope. Behaviors are about the only thing you can't copy and paste. So theoretically, our upgraded turret. We'll have a state. Turret fires equal to fire. And variety name is equal to turret upgrade. Come to actions. Turret firing. New turret firing. This can become quite a long process if you have a lot of effects on that to add. Enters into turret firing, new turret enters into new turret firing. And then, okay, so new turret firing, I won't do that one just yet, I'll go turret firing first. Fix attach. Weapons, muzzles. Let's see, where's a nice big one? A relatively big one. They're all weapon muzzles, not what I want. Big guns. Black guns. There are heaps and heaps and heaps of options. Let's just go with a 70mm muzzle. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Whoop. Oh, because that's set to random. Barrel end. That's cool. That'll work. That's what we want. And then if we go new turret firing, and I can use the same effect. Was it 70mm muzzle combo 0? Wasn't it? Yep. And that'll go to barrel end because I don't have another marker. If you do have a turret upgrade, it's best to use a separate marker for the end of the separate barrel, and both barrels will need to be separate meshes unless you unless the new barrel completely covers up the old one. So it comes from barrel end, but I want it to be a lot larger, so we can change the scale, and by comparison it'll be huge as opposed to a little one. I set that back to 1. I can also change the length, and instead of scaling the whole thing, it'll just make the effect a lot longer. As you can see, the smoke will go out further. It's usually best to just scale depending on what you're doing. If you want to make laser effects and stuff like that, there is, actually I'll just add it to stuff like laser effects. There's like heaps of effects that you can play around with. I think it's on a special. There's a spotlight effect here somewhere. Light glow beam, maybe. Okay, cool. And as you can see, there's like a tiny little light glow of a thing. What you can do, random, is if you increase the length. I can't see it now. That's not what I want to do. There we go. Increase the length and you can see it for ages. But if I wanted to refine that beam, I can change the scale. And then when I do that, it'll be a lot thinner, but it'll still be long. The length doesn't really matter because it's if you set the other target to the other thing. But you know, you can create like beams of light. I think there's something on the forum about changing the colours of special effects. If you find that, you can play around with it. You can create different coloured light beams. You can create lasers, all sorts of bits and pieces. There's heaps and heaps of effects and stuff you can play around with. There's shell sprays, mostly from either artillery or rifles and stuff like that. Or your muzzle flashes, or your flamethrower stuff. The dust effects from when artillery and large tanks fire, you put them under your chassis. Works pretty well. Do you want to close that? You got all sorts of smoke and flame burns and weather effects and water effects and dust effects and heaps and heaps and heaps of stuff. You sit there and play around with different behaviours and stuff triggered by variables and to your heart's content. There's a few other states which I'm just to see if I can find. Not critical table. That might be. There's a set of states which triggered when health goes down to certain points. If I can figure out what they are, I'll include it in the description. It's something. It's to do with the colours. Pretty sure it's like health, something green, something along those lines. I can't remember where they are at the moment. But you can. I'll try and make a list or find a list of states and variables which are controlled by Company of Heroes. There's like very basic ones like velocity. If you're doing stuff like wheels, it needs to be scaled with velocity, and then the velocity will be calculated by Company of Heroes. 10,000 is a bit excessive. But why is that? Oh, that helps. So that's weapons, adding effects, triggering effects. If I want to make something trigger off of death, I haven't put that in yet. Ticking these boxes does nothing, by the way. It's just to trigger the effect within the program. If you tick these boxes, it'll play on startup and it will always play. So if I were to tick this and export it, we would always be shooting flames. So if you want exhaust smoke or something, then you can pretty much, you don't need a behavior for it, you just create an action. So like exhaust smoke, trigger it on startup, and then just go and attach all your effects that you want. So special, let's go with like a flare combo just because we can. come off a random marker, and it's all the way off there. Why are you getting fired off there? I have no idea where it's self marker random. Let's see if I can find one which doesn't shoot all the way over there. Floodlight, let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, floodlights actually create light. So if you're going to actually have a light or something, you might want to point them away. Blowtorch active, there we go. As you can see here, it's playing off random markers. Because it doesn't have a lot of markers to choose from, it'll be playing elsewhere, but I can't see them because they're not visible. But it's basically playing off the only markers it has to choose from at the moment. And what it's doing is it's playing one, and then it's going, oh, I'll finish playing, I'll play something else randomly. See, it starts off one, and then it will jump because it's random. So we went to the lake barrel end. It would constantly play from that marker. And I now have a blowtorch tank. Yeah, great exhaust smoke, isn't it? I'll just get rid of that. What's it doing? Oh yeah, death action. So if we want to trigger an action on death, a visual action on death, we'll have the effects. And I'm going to want an explosion effect. Third explosion. Let's change you to a list. Not quite the sort of list that I want. That's not much help. Whatever. What do we have? Dirt explosions, metal explosions, mud explosions. It's really mud. Walking. What are we on? Demolitions. These are mostly impact explosions. Flame ring, fire explosion combo, this will do. If I hit play, actually I'll have to. Okay, so when our event death is triggered, it will play the action death. So if we hit play and I go trigger. Okay, I have an issue with the effects there, which is why I'm getting that nice big square. But you get the general idea. Every time that's triggered, it will play that effect. So if you have all your explosions set up, whenever it dies, you want a wicked chain reaction or something, you set that up through there. Might be under metal damage ammo. See what that looks like. You see little fragments of metal and stuff go flying. There's heaps and heaps of effects you can set up to happen. What else do we do? Okay, so setting up locomotion. So wheels and tracks and stuff. I want this to run up on startup. Basically, because we want this to go straight into horizontal, and it will be constantly monitored and controlled. That motion itself is a startup motion. Its parents don't need to be startup motions. Because we want to start off at locomotion and then work out what's happening before we take action. Locomotion needs to be the startup node. So let's see. What do I have? I have a left track. And I have a right track. I'm probably not going to be able to see the actual animations. Alright, so we have velocity. I think turn rate. Okay, so let's say -10. I'm pretty sure this is in degrees per second. I'm pretty sure it's turn rate. If it's not, I'll include it in the description if I can find it. Actually, I might be able to. Turn plan. Rotation rate. I think it's turn rate. I can't. That's all good. I can't remember. I'll have to check. We'll go with turn rate for now. Basically, when I work out what that is, you just change that variable name. Okay, so conditions for our left track working. We want our left track to work. Let's see. We want it to work when velocity is not equal to 0. So variable condition, velocity not equal to 0. And I don't want state, I want a variable. And when turn rate is not equal to 0. What this means is that it will go, okay, we start off like a motion. Are we moving or are we turning? If not, we do nothing. Conditions for that will need to be the same. Can I go? I'll just do them again. I don't want a range, I want a condition. Turn rate not equal 0. Velocity not equal to 0. Actually, these would need to be all statements because we only need one of them to be true. Alright, so each of those is going to need a new child. Okay. They're going to need to be motion nodes. Actually, I'll just try this differently. Call that turning. Call that moving. Let's see if I can variable condition. I don't think I can set this up the way I want to set it up. Out of habit of programming in other languages, it makes me want to check variables against each other, but I don't think we can. Condition would have to be that turn rate is greater than. Can I do it? No, I can't. Okay, so that's not gonna work. Alright, let's see. Okay, so I'll just get rid of that, see if this will work. Let's go motion. So left track left. We want that to hold at end. Oh no, loop should be fine. And then we want let's see, control it with velocity, I reckon. Should control it with turn rate. I want a speed scale. Go play. I don't think it's going to work how I want it to. Just yet. I don't even think I'm going to be able to see it happening.